make, come up with the adjustment plan, and Lamont relay it to him, and him put it in motion. A lot of times you losing weight, you're frustrated. Like you said, you got to focus on your game plan, but I can't because I got to deal with this weight issue. And this time we don't have that problem. This time it's a happy place.
What do you attribute that happy place to?
Like I said,
that's Lamont Peterson's trainer. We're going to talk for about 10 minutes or so. Let's watch this. This is some original Fight View 360 content. Shout out to Mo Jones down there in DC. This week, we're going to be providing full coverage for the fight. We having a little issue at first, but I'm going to be there on Thursday for the press conference. Let's just watch this. I'll be right back.
We don't have the same stress and strain on us, trying to cut weight about adjustments with us. And so, whatever he brings to the table is our job to make, come up with the adjustment plan, and Lamont relay it to him, and him put it in motion. A lot of times you losing weight, you're frustrated. Like you said, you got to focus on your game plan, but I can't because I got to deal with this weight issue. And this time we don't have that problem. This time it's a happy place.
What do you attribute that happy place to?
Like I said, we don't have the same stress and strain on us, trying to cut weight. Because a lot of times, a lot of fighters, I've seen fighters, Lamont included, be so dehydrated, even when they go to spit, maybe little cotton balls will come out their mouth. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing else left. So, you've given it all, and then I still got to go in there and fight for 12 rounds. So we don't have that issue this time. The last week is much more, going over, like you said, the game plan, mental preparation. A lot of fighters and a lot of athletes in general make the mistake. They'll train the physical man, but they won't train the mental man. And so mentally, you have to prepare yourself just as well as physically, even more so, because the mind is going to lead the body. And so we want to,
And that's Barry Hunter, by the way, Lamont Peterson's trainer. And as you know, Lamont Peterson has been walking around huge. He's coming into the ring, at 160 pounds plus. 165. Was the last we saw him. What was that? The Garcia fight, right? He came into the ring at 165. A lot of people feel that he won that fight, by the way. TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. I'm not under the weather. Let me tell you what happened. In my house gets really, 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 really hot. And I took a nap, and I can't really be in heat like that. I took a nap, woke up, and basically had a little mini asthma attack. But I'm cool, but it was a mini one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sick or anything. It's just that I can't be sleeping with the heat on like that, I woke up fucking sweating and shit. But listen to this. For those who don't know, Errol Spence is supposed to be making at least $3 million. Now, of course, if the purses were officially released, it would say something like, let's just throw out an arbitrary number, something like 1.25 for Errol Spence. But we've heard that he got extra money to stay away from basically HBO, just kind of like Mikey Garcia did. It's kind of common knowledge now in the hardcore boxing community, meaning that news that Al Heyman, PBC, and I guess you could say Showtime, put together extra money to keep guys like Errol Spence from fighting Miguel Cotto and Mikey Garcia from fighting Miguel Cotto and or Jorge Linares. So then this came up. Now, the volume is a little low, but I'm sure you'll be able to hear it. Pay attention. When was this? This was Thursday, last Thursday. Right now, it's, I'm so confused, man. It's January the 15th, 2018, 9:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This was last Thursday. And it's Monday, But anyway.
Learn things and move on. Everything is just much better, and I feel like my career will be extended somewhat from this point. But it all going to come to an end. But until then, I'll enjoy it while I have it.
You satisfied with your payday for this one?
Say again?
You satisfied with the purse for this one?
Next question.
Is there something about this fight that you're particularly enjoying the process too? I mean, you kind of mentioned finding that comfortable.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been making, a big deal about him. The reporter asked him, that's some bold ass shit though. You know, normally reporters don't go in there asking about people money. Now, obviously, it's talked about because a lot of, you know, I don't want to say it's casual fans, but it seems like a lot of fans don't understand the significance of what fighters make and the fact that it's always been a talking point of boxing media and boxing fans, you know, because hello, was Floyd Mayweather said it's called motherfucking prize fighting. You know, so you're fighting for a prize. You know, so talking about what the fighters are making, it's not something that's like taboo. It's just that it's kind of taboo to ask the fighters about it. You know, guys like Floyd Mayweather will talk about it, but guys on Lamont Peterson level, you know, especially if you know, obviously it hasn't been confirmed, you know, but it's been just, you know, talked about in media and from people's sources and things like that, that Errol Spence is going to be making a lot of money. It's going to be interesting to see how much Lamont Peterson is going to be making. And also, if you notice, the undercard is not really stacked. Don't get me wrong, there's some good names on the undercard. We're going to go look at it, but not the type of names that can take away from, you know, Lamont Peterson and Errol Spence's payday. So I guess they had to stack the undercard up to a point where Lamont Peterson was getting the most he could possibly get. Truth be told, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, and this is and remember, I study these type of things, and you know, the hardcore boxing fans understand what I'm talking about when I say don't be surprised if Lamont Peterson getting something like maybe $500,000 to $700,000 or something. I mean, $750,000. Remember, Berto versus Ortiz both split $750K. Maris and Santa Cruz both split like $1 million or something, like, I don't know, you know, I mean, not split, but they both made about $1 million or something. Basically, what we've noticed is over the last couple of years, definitely last year or so, BBC paydays are not as high as they used to be. You know, Al Heyman was giving out paydays like it was candy. It's not those days anymore. So a guy like Lamont Peterson, who's probably, you know, since he's been inactive, kind of maybe living off of some advances of Al Heyman, is maybe not going to make that much money on paper. And also, Mo, the guy who was there, who blessed us with this movie quality content right here, the newest member of Fight View 360, he was saying that basically, you know, that people were pretty much like writing off Lamont Peterson, you know. Like just pretty much saying like, well, you know, will you retire if you lose, or basically like, yo, when you lose, are you going to retire? And also there wasn't too much of a big media turnout because for one, it was rescheduled and you know, it was rescheduled, but also the guy has just been on these layoffs, man. You know, and truth be told, there's a video I have on the channel from Barry Hunter, the trainer of Lamont Peterson, when he was saying that, listen, you know, we had other fights. You know, we were close to getting the Keith Thurman fight, but then he got injured. You know, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Go watch the video on the channel. He was talking about that they were very, very close to getting the Miguel Cotto fight. You know, he said, like, pretty much the deal was done. That's what he said. He said the deal was done. You know, another Al Heyman fighter to go over to HBO to, you know, to fight, you know, Miguel Cotto. And then he said that they wanted to push the date back. And truth be told, from what I'm gathering from it, they really didn't want to fight Errol Spence. They really didn't want to drop their WBA title because he had to drop his title. For those who don't know, you know, and I'm sorry for the people who do know, but remember, you have to understand that there's a lot of people still on my hoodie. You have to understand there's a lot of people that watch videos for the first time, and they don't know that the WBA has 2 championships, that the WBA World and you have the WBA Super World. Keith Thurman is the WBA Super World and WBC champion. Errol Spence is the IBF, and currently right now, Jeff Horn is the WBO. Now, Lamont Peterson his belt was below those 4 belts. And when you're that WBA world champion, you can't unify because if anything, you're supposed to be fighting the super world champion, which currently is Keith Thurman. Whatever the case may be, he had to drop his title in order to get this Errol Spence fight. And also he wanted to stay active. And Errol Spence was in a situation where nobody wanted to fight him either. So he would have had to go the top 15 IBF route and fight somebody in there. And there's not too many appealing names. So this was the fight that they had to come up with. Now, can Lamont Peterson win? Yeah, of course. You know, but people are saying he's going to get slaughtered and get knocked out, especially the fact that he has been stopped before in the past by Lucas Matisse at a smaller weight. So people are like, how are you going to take the power? But however, Lamont Peterson has greatly improved over the last couple of years. But you have to look at the fact that, well, he ain't really been fighting, you know? So when you look at the Danny Garcia fight, obviously that was a controversial decision, but that was back in 2015. Another controversial decision when people felt that he lost to Felix Diaz. By the way, Felix Diaz fought Terrence Crawford at 140 and just got taken to school. But a lot of people feel this is just the opinion of boxing fans, you know, hardcore boxing fans, you know, not analysts and everything. I mean, analysts too, but they feel that Lamont Peterson won this fight. But however, they also feel that Lamont Peterson lost this fight against Felix Diaz. Now, when you looked at, wait a minute, he fought David Evernesi, and this is the guy that beat Shane Mosley, by the way. It's a crazy story about how this came out. Long story short, people were like, how is Shane Mosley still in the picture to win a title? He went on to fight this guy because he had went down to, I think it was Venezuela, meaning Shane Mosley, to a barbecue with the WBA president. This is no bullshit. And somehow he came back as a #1 contender for the WBA. So then, you know, he fought Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley had beat him. I mean, he had beat Shane Mosley, and then David Evernesian went on to fight Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson beat him. Then Lamont Peterson got that title. But then you realize that, well, wait a minute. In between this was what? This was a 14, 15, 16-month layoff, right? From October of 2015 to February of 2017, no fights, and he wasn't injured. Then if you look at, it's almost a year, you know, 11 months since he fought David Evernesian. So he's really had some bad luck. Now, looking at his resume is quite respectable. Even if you go back to look at Kendall Holt at the time. But however, with the Amir Khan fight, he failed the drug test. So now people are looking at him now. It's like, yo, like this dude is huge. You know, they're looking like this guy is huge. You know, he be wearing these little, you know, Mike Tyson shorts now. And people obviously are going to assume, and remember, this is just the people saying this. They're like, man, dude's still on that juice. Is it VADA testing for this fight? That's what the people are asking. You know? But to talk about the fight, what fight is he going to fight? Is he going to fight that fight like he did with David Evernesian? You know? Is he going to fight that fight? Is he going to fight that fight like he did with Felix Diaz, where Diaz had to use the movement, didn't want to be on the ropes? Or is he going to dance the night away like Lionel Richie, like he did with Danny Garcia? Dancing on the ceiling and shit. The rhythm of the night. You know? So is he going to play that, you know, trade power for power with Errol Spence? Remember, in my opinion, Errol Spence is a 154-pounder at 147. So, you know, you have the scales of, you know, no pun intended, of you know, smaller 147-pounders versus the bigger 147-pounders. Guys that are usually coming from 140 and divisions below that at 147 are usually on the scale of the smaller 147-pounders. But a guy like Errol Spence, who, you know, was fighting at 147, you can see him at 150, 160 one day, you know, and be successful at 160 to a certain extent. So you got so many, many questions. And then you would think that if Lamont Peterson was to win, you know, he's going to go on and just fuck up the whole, you know, plans of the 147-pound division. Because right now, even though Keith Thurman is the king, being a unified WBC and WBA champion and beating the man that beat the man, you know, even though Floyd Mayweather was the king before him, still, Errol Spence is looked at as like the guy that can beat them all. He's looked at as the king of the division. And then you have a guy on the outskirts looking in like Terrence Crawford, who hasn't fought anybody to prove himself at 147 yet. People looking at him like, yo, when he's here now, he's going to take all that shit over. A guy like Lamont Peterson can come fuck all that up. But, you know, only time will tell, and he needs this win. Because if Lamont Peterson loses, where's he going to go? You know, I mean, he says he's not going to retire. You know, but is he going to, you know, go back to these long-ass layoffs again? You know, so many questions. But as I said, man, I'm going to be there. You know, so this Thursday, we're going to try to get some questions in with Lamont Peterson. Feel free, you know, to leave them down in the comments. As y'all know, I answer the comments, you know. I answer, you know, so feel free to leave them down in the comments. We're going to be at the press conference on Thursday. I'm likely going to be streaming it, and we're also going to have the this footage right here. This is an excellent job, you know. So, it's going to be so much more media around him, you know, come Thursday, you know, Wednesday at the media workout, Thursday at the final press conference, Friday at the weigh-in. So he was kind of irritable. Now, I was watching this footage, and I'm having to edit and share it around, so I'm watching it multiple times. But like I said, if you want to see this content, it's right here on the channel. Spence versus Peterson. What time is this fight? It is 9 p.m. on Saturday, you know, on Showtime. And Boxing Nation picked it up, right? For those who don't know, here's Errol Spence's record right here. You know, and if you go down and look, he started his career at 154 pounds. You know, as you can see, anything over 147 is 154. You know, and he hasn't shown that he's been having any type of issues making weight. You know, also, remember, he's got those legendary stories behind him of him blacking Floyd Mayweather's eye and sparring, the vampire facial, you know, shit. And then him knocking out Adrian Broner, which is another video we got to do. But anyway, man, I'm getting redundant and I'm rambling. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. The owner and editor-in-chief of FightView360.com. Things are really, really moving well. If you're interested in helping out in any way, shape, or form, for example, we didn't have anybody down in Dallas, you know, for Errol Spence's workout. Like, no matter where you are, if you want to go to fights, make a little bit of money, you know, have your expenses taken care of as long as they're reasonable, you know, and you're a responsible individual, you know, then contact us. You know, there's so many different ways to contact us, whether it's on social media, you know, whether the email that your motherfuckers never use that I put down there in the description box that I pay for every month, info@fightview360.com. You know, let's talk, let's negotiate. We need people all over the world. We're trying to take over, you know. We're trying. And more importantly, we're trying to get you the news that you care about, not the bullshit news that you don't, especially the hardcore fans. You know I use this all the time, especially during my live streams, but boxing fans don't really care about, you know, I'm guaranteeing you're going to have people asking, well, hey, Errol Spence, what is it like to fight in the mecca of boxing, even though they say it's Madison Square Garden? Like, what do you feel like to fight in New York City? You know, I know coming from Dallas is as much. Now, those are good questions and everything because, you know, there's some people that want to know that type of shit. But realistically, the mass, you know, a majority of boxing fans don't give a fuck. They want to know, like, yo, Errol Spence, like, what's been going on with Keith Thurman lately? Even though we already know that Keith Thurman don't want that smoke right now. But still, you know, whatever. We're going too deep in the rabbit hole. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.